You know what time it is. It's WrestleRoni time. Spooky Lou coming to you, and I'm excited. You better be excited. Today, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the very top talent in Argentina at the moment, the one and only J Master. How we doing, my man?
Hello, hello. It's really fun to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for accepting the invite and being on here, man. You recently just got home from Chile. How was that?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Went over there last Friday. Came back. Yes, no, yesterday no. Monday I came back.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for about 3 days. Wrestled on CNL, which is the biggest promotion in South America. For the first time, and it was also my first time in Chile, so it was like a lot of new things for me, and it was amazing. One of the best trips of my life, and I'm already planning to come back, so I loved it.
Awesome. Good for you, man. You're shining if anybody is. Recently I put the ladder match on the channel. Folks getting there's rave reviews about that. Let's I guess we'll turn it back a little bit. When did you decide to get into this crazy game and how? Because my listeners aren't aware, it's not all over television in Argentina like it is here. How did you find wrestling and what made you want to get into it?
Yeah, I started watching wrestling when I was like about 5 or 6. In Argentina, we had this program called 100% Lucha,
Mm-hmm.
which was like a bit of a children's show for of wrestling children's show, and I started watching that when I was really young, and by the time I was like 10, 11 maybe, I discovered WWE through video games, and I started like getting more into that. 100% Lucha finished, so I just kept on watching WWE, and then I started watching a few more of the independent promotions, and getting to know wrestling better. And around 2019, towards the end of 2019, I signed up at Catch Argentino's academy, and started wrestling there right away.
Wow. Wow. And it looks, and at least on the outside looking in, it looks like Catch Argentina and you just both just this a steady grow. You're growing together. What's that like? This group of guys. What's it like for this growing new promotion in Argentina?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun these past few years. I joined 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I was like kind of at the start of this new like wave of wrestling
Mm-hmm.
in Argentina, especially in catch. There were a lot of guys, new guys, my age, coming in. A few of them had experience, some of them didn't. I didn't. So it was like a growing process for all of us at the same time. So right now we're all getting like better
Mm-hmm.
than we were. So like the product is getting better and we are getting better, and we've all grown together. So like we know each other for a really long time and enjoy working with each other and understand each other, and that I think helps do what we do better.
It, it definitely shows. It definitely shows. And props to whoever does the production. The production's slick. You guys are doing a great job. And props to you on speaking a second language. I couldn't do it if I wanted to. And I know not everybody, in Argentina speaks the second language. Why pick up English? What made you decide to go ahead and speak English as well?
That was mostly because I of my school when I used to go as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we started like studying English, like the basic stuff, when I was like 4, 5 in school, and throughout primary school we did a lot of English, and especially in secondary school we had like a lot of English subjects. We studied literature, like grammar, everything related to English, and there was even one day of the week where we would have to stay like 3 extra hours just to do English.
Wow.
um Also, I also like learn a lot through wrestling and movies, music, or everything. And then after that, after I finished high school, I did like a 2 year course where I got like the best degree I could get. So I just like kept practicing because I knew that I always wanted to wrestle in the States, so I had to know how to speak in English. Um, so I really focus on learning it and knowing it. And well, nowadays I also work with people that work in the States, so I have to like speak English constantly and read emails in English constantly. So I'm like surrounded by the language.
Man, so not only do you have the talent working to your advantage, you can now also call spots if you want to. You can cut a promo if you want to. So props to you, and especially 3 extra hours of school on occasion. Nah, that ain't for me, man. So God bless you. Holy hell. Who's some guys in the U.S. that you're looking at, and when you finally get over here in a perfect world, who would you like to go toe to toe with?
Well, right now I'm friends with both Ariel Bango and Bobby Flaco.
Mm,
I met them a few times, like I was with them like 3, 4 days ago,
mm,
because they were in Argentina. I'm good friends with them because we've met. I wrestled Bango before, like 3, 4 times.
mm-hmm.
Bobby, I never wrestled with him, but we got to know each other these past few days, and it's great. But if you're talking like dream match right now, I probably have to choose someone like Pac. I love
Hell yeah.
his work. Someone like maybe I don't know. If we're talking indies, probably in the States, I would love to face Commander.
Oh
He does a
yeah.
lot of rope stuff. I like to do some rope stuff, so I think it would be a fun matchup.
So we've got guys from the U.S. coming down to Argentina now, huh?
Yeah, it's especially started with Bango. Like he came over last year.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got in contact with him because he talked to my promotion to catch, because he wanted to come last year, and I kind of took over that because I had well, I knew English, so I could speak to him better.
Mm.
Um, and that's when like my relationship with him started. We started talking, and I helped him out to so we could like figure out a date so he could be here. And he was the first time that came, the first guy that came. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we got Boy Flaco as well.
That's awesome. So to the few youngsters watching the show, to the kids still in school, there you go, man. Try a little harder. Maybe pick up another language. You're helping bring guys in from the states. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So might not have happened without your help. So props to you on that. And
Thank
you're
you.
looking to
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. I think it's very important to bring people from different places, especially to Argentina, because we don't have a lot of wrestling.
Hmm.
And bringing people from the US, from Chile, from Europe, it helps the whole scene in Argentina grow because these people know stuff that we don't know, and maybe we can teach them stuff that they don't know. So it's just like a relationship that works for both of us.
Exactly. Yep. And the scene's evolving. When you went to Chile, what was some things you picked up there? Some differences you noticed? Some similarities? Make some comparisons for me.
And I believe I was there like for 3 days, but I think the sense of community that the Argentinian wrestling community has is also there at Chile.
Hmm.
I met a lot of guys for the first time. A lot of them I had talked to like on Instagram or Twitter, but it was like my first time meeting a lot of them in person. And like I realized we are pretty much the same. They just have their scene over there is a little more like well developed,
Hmm.
but we are on our way. But they are still just great people, a lot of fun. Like I said, I think every single day I was there, I stayed up until like 4 a.m. every day, just talking to them about wrestling, about life. Like we just click really easily. I
Hmm.
think that's something that both scenes have in common. Probably because we're both such small scenes that we like share a lot of similarities.
Hmm.
Um, we've a lot come from like the same place. A lot of them wrestled for like five peoples, and it was like big for them. We did the same,
Hmm.
so I think we both have that in common.
Awesome, awesome. And I've noticed the Catch Argentina, the fans are definitely coming out more and more each show. How important are these fans? What's the interactions for the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, has there been any bad incidents? Tell me something about the fans over there.
I have a really fun story. Well, it wasn't fun, but now it is fun.
Okay.
Um, my first time working with Catch as Shea Master, like I had done a few events like as with my real name as a student, but the first time working like with my gimmick,
Hmm.
we went to a really, really dangerous neighborhood here in Buenos Aires. Um, and it was the first show, the first match of the show, sorry, and right as the middle of the match was going, a lot of people started running towards like the train tracks,
Oh.
and we didn't know what was going on. And a fight broke up between the people in the audience. They just started fighting, and half the crowd went over to see that fight, and we were like, "What's going on?" We didn't know what's going on. So police showed up. They broke up the fight. People came back to the show, and we kept on going. But that was a weird first experience for me. But it was fun. I remember it now, and I tell the story and I laugh. It was really really fun.
Wow. Yeah. So somebody was pulling for J Master and somebody was pulling for the opponent, and they couldn't have it. They had to fight then and there. I've been in those crowds, man. I was at a
Yeah, these fights broke up. Yeah.
I was at a show. I was probably 10 years old, and the guy in front of me wanted Shawn Michaels to win, and the guy behind me wanted Bret Hart to win, and I was a little kid in between them, and they were getting pretty mad. Pittsburgh Civic Arena, I won't forget that, but no cops necessary on that one, but it happens. It definitely happens. I've seen my fair share of wild stuff over here. I promise you that. But for the most part, the fans are pretty cordial and accepting to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, yeah, it's growing a lot as well. Last year we saw a big like jump in the fans,
Mhm.
especially with Legion, which is another promotion over here.
Mhm.
Um, they got like started working a bit bigger venues,
Mhm.
so they started getting a lot more people in, and a lot of those people are also coming over to Catch and to Quilombo, which is also another promotion that I'm in.
Mhm.
And now that Catch is doing bigger shows than last year, now we found our own venue. We have a place for us to do shows. We are like starting to grow more around our own audience. Um, and it came to the point that right now we sell about 100 tickets for show, and we are like filling up the place. We need to find a new place because people are standing up. They can't even sit. So that's good. That's really good for us.
Yeah.
And they are reacting. They are interacting with us. Like I was watching one of my last matches before the interview
Mhm.
because I got like the second camera of the show. Um, the one that I sent to you, I got the second camera.
Cool.
So I watched that. And during my entrance, I realized that there's a part of the song, of my theme song, that just says, "Oh, oh, yeah." And they sang it. And I was like, I didn't realize that at the time. But they're starting to like know our songs, know who we are, know what we do. And they are like interacting with it and being a part of the show.
Oh, so you're getting the old Cody Rhodes. Whoa!
Yeah,
You
I'm
can't
getting
beat
my own
that.
whoa. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you, man. Like I say, you're killing it. Killing it. Everybody. I heard that a hip hop man came to Argentina, be making some trips. Did you have any interaction with him when he came down?
Yeah, I walked the show with him. Yeah. And he's, well, an Argentinian wrestling legend.
Hmm.
Everybody knows Hip Hop Man. Um, he's a good friends with Catch's promoter. So when he came back from Mexico, he did one of our shows with Catch. He didn't wrestle me, but we talked backstage. Really, really nice guy. We talked like a picture and everything. If you want, I can send it to you.
Yeah, sure.
Um, yeah, and after that, like we kept in touch. We talked through Instagram sometimes. Now he's in Japan. He's been great. Like he's been there for like almost a month.
Hmm.
So he's like working hard and doing what he loves to do, which is wrestling, and that's what we love too.
And he's been doing it for a while too. Wow.
Yeah,
Good for that
yeah, yeah.
guy. If
I
there was
grew up watching him.
Oh yeah, always a fun watch. Shoot, he's on every Lucha Libre channel there is weekly, you know. So good for him. If there was a guy on TV, the promoter gives you the book, says, "J Master, bring me in a TV Now, we know we're not going to get the contract at AEW and WWE, guys, but like we had recently just had Johnny Swinger. We have Ace Austin coming to the next PWL show. So we're looking at like Impact guys and guys like that. The promoter gives you the book, says, J Master, bring me down a U.S. star. Who would you bring in? You get to work them. Who would you bring in?
I'd probably have to pick. I don't know which name he's going by today.
Hmm.
Sean Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Elite, Johnny
Okay.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to bring him in. He's one of my main inspirations, so I think Johnny Catch Argentino sounds good.
There you
He's
go.
done.
I love it. When did you find his work, and what inspires you about John Morrison?
First thing I remember about him was seeing his entrance, the whole slow motion thing with the pyro and all the coat he had.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first time I was like, okay, this guy, he's a star. I like him. And then I also watched him wrestle, like all of the moves he did. He was so innovative and different than everybody else, and that really told me, okay, if I want to do this, I have to stand out somehow. And he did it that way, so I'm trying to do it that way as well.
That's awesome. Hey, and to put over my local scene again, Bash and Beckley next month. Johnny, whatever his name will be, All Star, because it'll be for All Star Wrestling. He's coming to my neck of the woods, so hell yeah, man. That guy's everywhere. Definitely a good inspiration. Like you said, super innovative. I remember when he was first coming up in the WWE CW and tagging with The Miz, and I was a big fan of his work. Even on Tough Enough, you knew he was going to be somebody. So super happy for that dude. He's killing it for sure. Shoot, lost my train of thought there. But yeah, he's coming to West Virginia. Hopefully J Master be coming to West Virginia as well someday. You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
sure.
lock it up. Lock it up. Make it
Yeah.
happen. Let's go back to the ladder match. That was my train of thought. There we are. The ladder match that I recently featured on the channel had some highlights. What was going through your mind getting ready for the match? What happened during the match? How'd you feel after the match? What can you tell my listeners about this wild-ass ladder match?
Well, I learned I was doing the ladder match like a month or two before the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited right away. Like I knew I was in, but I didn't know the rest of the guys who were in because they weren't like decided yet.
Okay.
Um, so there were a few participants that switched around. Some of them like had to move to a different place in the card or anything, different things happen. Um, but I was really excited from the beginning. I was a bit scared because it was right in the middle of like my like show streak that I was doing, and I
Mm.
didn't want to get hurt before my trip to Chile.
Mm.
So I was like very cautious about it, but I really wanted to show off and do the best I could at the show, because it was my first ladder match, and it was a really special attraction not only to the show but to the scene in general. Like there aren't a lot of ladder matches in Argentina,
Mm.
so I knew we had to do something good for the fans, something good for us. Um, so that was mostly my motivation going in, just showing what we could do with ladders. Um, and during the match, I remember right before I was really nervous. I didn't know how things were gonna go. I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't sure like my partners were as ready as I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how it was gonna go down. I was nervous, but right as we started, but like I knew this is good. Like we are doing good, um, and I could feel the crowd working well for with us for that. And when you hear that people just cheer for anything you're doing, you know they are enjoying it and they are having a fun time. So that was really important to me. And after the match, of course, I felt even better. Everything gone good as planned. Nobody got hurt. People loved it. And Travis won a championship, which is one of my friends since I started. So I was really happy for him. I was happy for Taga. He was coming back from an injury, so I was happy for him. Um, and I was happy for everybody involved. It felt like we did something special that night. Like we made history in Argentinian wrestling. So that was really important to me.
For sure. And you guys did. Major props to all you guys. The match went off without a hitch. a lot of innovative spots that I've never seen before, and I've watched wrestling since '91. So you definitely have my respect. But you had mentioned you guys made history. It was a big moment, and it is. Is there any other moments you've been a part of or witnessed as far as that was a moment, that was a big match, that changed the game?
Yeah, I definitely feel I've been a part of a few of those,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Catch, since like I've been there for this whole new like revolution that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Last week when we did the three-way, the Fans Bring the Weapons match, I feel like we made history there as well, because we kind of did like a comedy wrestling match mixed with an extreme match,
Mm.
and it was the first time ever done in Argentina. So that felt like really historical for me. Um, Also, when we did the first Quilombo show, I also felt like a new beginning for our scene. It felt really important, not only to me because I was a part of it, but because the scene needed a promotion that would bring in like international stars and work with that international mindset that we don't have in Argentina. So the first time we did that, it really felt like something new and something um, worth watching for our scene.
Aha, okay. And I like what you said there. You guys have a bit of a different mindset because to the listeners that don't know, this indie scene is fairly new in Argentina. This is something that's it's a baby at this point, and J Master's one of those getting it off the ground. Whenever you say, there's a different mindset as opposed to an international mindset, I get what you're saying, but can you elaborate on that for the listeners how things are a bit different and how things are looked at down there?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is very clear if you watch Argentinian wrestling for like the last 5 years. It used to be more about, it used to be more of a kids show. It was more about the funny characters, the cartoonish show,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of the success that companies like 100% Lucha and Titanes del Ring had, um, every promoter thought they had to do something similar to that in order to like succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So wrestling wasn't such an sport as it is today, but it was more on the childish side. Um, Nowadays, because of all these young wrestlers that we grew up watching WWE, we grew up watching independent wrestling in the States, in Europe, in Mexico, in Japan, everywhere. I think we're all kind of like bringing in our little ideas and concepts that weren't here before. And now wrestling is more about what it is internationally, right?
Mm-hmm.
A mix between the good sports and a mix between good entertainment. And and I think we're trying to like make it so that people on the outside can see us and say, okay, these guys are good. They know what they're doing because it's something that didn't used to happen back in the day.
Yep. Hey, good way of putting it. It caught my attention a couple years ago, and I've been following. God bless YouTube. I tell everybody, YouTube is a treasure trove of just hidden gems everywhere. And we were talking about how the scene's evolving and these big moments are happening. Do you have any personal goals, not just for yourself, but for the scene? Things you would like to see accomplished in Argentina?
Yeah, my biggest like dream be with Argentinian wrestling would be something that I took from my experience. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to wrestle since I was like 10 years old. Like I wanted to do it. I couldn't because I didn't have any school, any wrestling school. I couldn't find it, and the only one that we had was like really, really far away, so my parents couldn't take me. My ultimate goal is for any kid or any adult, anybody in Argentina who wants to wrestle, to have a wrestling school near them or just an accessible place for them to go and train and get better, so the whole scene can grow. I think that's extremely important because we get a lot of messages from people like in different cities in Argentina. They're saying, where can I go? Like I live this place. I'm really far from Buenos Aires, which is where most promotion are, and they can't train, they can't go see shows because it's just not available for them. and I think it's one of my goals and one of my ambitions to help wrestling in Argentina be so important, so popular that this stuff doesn't happen. Uh, just so any kid who wants to do it can just go somewhere and just train and try to do it. They don't have to become like international stars. It's not important to me. I just want people to have the chance to do it and to try it and to go watch it as well. I think that's the way to do that is, on my side, is to improve, to be the example for them, to go outside and show them, hey, I can do it. You could do it too. Like I'm on TV, you could be on TV too. That's my way of seeing it.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's take it back to training. When you first started your training, was there any things that was kind of an eye opener for you? Like, oh, okay, well, this is this way. Did it compare? Did it compare to what you think it would be, or was it different? What was your first little bit of training like for you?
I think I realized how different it was from what I had seen when I started like not training, but a few months in.
Hmm.
When I because I knew like the basics, I had watched a lot of videos about it and I kind of had an idea how it would be.
Okay.
But when I started like working matches and the first match I had, it was like a 3 minute match. I was surprised of how out of breath I was after the match.
Right.
I'm in good condition, always have been in like good physical condition, always did like sports, but it shocked me how like out of breath I was and how the entertainment aspect of wrestling can also affect your physical body while you're doing it.
Hmm.
I didn't know about that. It was really like eye-opening for me. Like, how much can the whole environment you're in change the way you're actually wrestling? Because I also realized that sometimes, like last week, I cut myself during the match and I didn't feel a thing because of the adrenaline of the crowd and the show. I couldn't feel it. Um, but if it was a different sport, maybe I would. I don't know. It was different, very, very different to me, and interesting how much can that change your experience.
Exactly. I was going to say it's that adrenaline, and that's what's making you get winded is too. Your brain's thinking, "Oh man, we're in a fight here." So yeah, that's a damn good point. A very good point. Let's go into your name, J Master. Why J Master? How J Master? What's that about?
And it kind of came about when I was in high school, I
Okay.
think, and it had nothing to do with wrestling. It was just like a joke, like a nickname my friends gave me.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of invented it. It like came from a different like nickname I made in Spanish, which is basically the translation of Shea Master,
Okay.
um, which is basically the same. And I kind of like used it there as like my nickname,
Hmm.
and only my close friends would call me like Jay or Jota, which is Jay in Spanish. Um, but when I moved over to like wrestling, I was figuring out what name to use. I didn't know if I wanted to use my real name. Um, and I told my friends like, what should I do? Like, what do you think I should be? And they told me like, try doing Shea Master. Like that's why we call you. Why not? And so I like said, yeah, why not? Tried it, and I think people like it. So I think it works. It got me far enough. So I think we're good to go with Shea Master.
Yeah, yeah, it's working, man. It's working. It's a name, and people are knowing the name for sure. Uh, what goes into the gimmick? Is that I'm sure it's a lot of you, but when you were thinking about who you wanted to be, what did you want to make sure that was in there to show to the fans?
Yeah, the easiest way to explain it for me, and it's also really hard because it has to do with something that a lot of people don't know. Um, I don't know if you know the band The Struts, but they are
Okay.
a huge inspiration to the character. Like when I was like coming up with the character, I imagine who would be a character that they would sing about, like who would be a lyric on one of their songs.
Ah.
So I kind of inspire who Che Master is on their music, on a lot of their lyrics. And of course that relates to me a lot because I'm kind of like the gimmick. Like I remember like a few days ago when we were in Chile, I said like a joke, a, a stupid joke. Um, it was a joke that like my gimmick would make, my character would make, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys tells the promoter of the show, like, "Hey, Jay Master is not a gimmick. Like he's like that every day, and that is true. It's me. What you see when you see me on the show, it's me. Of course, a little more like interesting for the show, but that's who I am. That's what I do, and if we have to go to more in like story wise, the gimmick is more related to rock music and the attitude of rock music.
Okay, I get it. When you started, this the scene again, it's pretty new, so it's not a familiar thing in Argentina. Your friends and your family, were they supportive? Did they say you were crazy? How did that go for you?
Yeah, to me it was like they already knew I was gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they knew since I was a kid. I've been telling them since I was 10, I want to do this. I want to be a wrestler, and they were always supportive. They always tried to look for schools for me to train in. They always wanted me to do it. And actually, my mom was the one who found Catch's Academy. She, well, Titanes in el Ring had just come back, uh, like in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and she had the idea of DMing like every single wrestler on the show and ask them where did they train. And one of them told her in Catch, and she found out it was like 20 blocks away from my house. So I just like signed in and started training. And my parents have been supportive since the beginning. My friends as well. They all come to the shows all the time. Especially my parents. They never miss a show. Never. Um, and my friends, yeah, when they are available, they can come and they always enjoy it too. Also, one of my best friends from childhood. He's our cameraman. He's the one who films the shows.
Uh, okay, very familiar with the situation. That's kind of how all this fell into my lap. My best friend from childhood is a popular wrestler in the area, so I'm cameraman, tagging right along. Me and him rode to a show weekend before last in one city, last weekend another city, this weekend heading to another city. We're always on the road together, and it's definitely cool to have your friends there along with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For sure, for sure. I gotta ask you this, man. You're a good-looking kid. Are you married? Are you dating somebody? How's that for you?
Mm. Right now, I'm single. I'm not married. I'm 21, so
Okay.
not yet.
So when you go to these
Um,
shows, are
yeah.
there's some female fans talking to you, or what? How's that go?
It's kind of hard. There aren't a lot of female wrestling fans in Argentina.
Okay.
So it's not as easy as it should be, but yeah, I get some eyes every once in a while. I get a few messages. But I think it's just part of the experience. Like I always say this to my friends that I try to keep it professional all the time. So as long as it's not messing up what I'm going to be doing at the show, like I'm not gonna be um, talking to anybody. Like my main focus when I'm at the show is to do my job and do it well, not to get girls. Like
Wow.
if everything goes well on the show, afterwards maybe we can go party, we can do something, I don't mind. But during the show, it's my main focus is the show and everything going well.
Props to you. 21 years old, and the focus is on the cause and not the females. I don't know, maybe that's a culture difference because that's just unheard of over here. So props to you, sir. What we looking forward to in the future? What's coming up in the near future for J Master?
Near future, my next date is June 25th, in about a month. I'm coming back to catch. Uh, that's gonna be fun. We also have probably Quilombo during that time as well. And I'm also gonna be at Legion around that time as well. So I take this month like off. I can just train relaxed for a few weeks, and then I get back on like moving almost every weekend. So that's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah, cool, cool. All right, I'm gonna hit you with a hard one. Let's see how it works here. What's some things you don't like in Argentina wrestling, and if there was something you could change, what would you change?
Well, there is a lot of toxicity between a few promotions, mostly the old ones. Um, like something I would always like appreciate about Catch is that we don't have any problems with promotions like Legion or Quilombo. We, in fact, we work together a lot of the time, and I feel like there's a lot of uh, promotions that I don't associate myself with because I don't like them. That just kind of like to like throw shade at other promotions, at wrestlers, poke fun of wrestlers when they mess up.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of toxicity from that point of view. There's a lot of jealousy from a lot of wrestlers, um, either because they couldn't do what we do now, or they are not at the position that we are in. Like, of course, I myself get a lot of love from wrestling, from wrestlers, from fans, from a lot of people. There are here and there are a few people that are like, oh, you are you're like a promoter's friend. That's why you get titles. That's why you get opportunities. Like a lot of people like to bash me for that because I haven't been in the business for that long. So a lot of people I think I'm just friends with. I only know how to make good friends and don't know how to wrestle that well. A lot of people think that.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, while those people are just busy talking, I'm also working. I'm training. I'm working. I'm trying to get better every time. Sure, sometimes I can't do the best match from the card or have the best show, but I'm always working to be the best person I can be when I put on my clothes and go out and wrestle.
and the same thing goes on over here. It's the old guard. If you're doing good, you're doing it wrong, and it all comes back to jealousy and why can't I be doing that? It happens everywhere. It's not just Argentina. It's not just West Virginia. I don't know, man. It's the way, but things are changing. Things are changing everywhere for the better. I've seen it with my own eyes. Just keep the pace and screw it. Do what you're doing. You're doing it well. I, I'm really keeping this interview clean with you. I haven't said the F word once, and I almost said it, but we're going to see if I can. You've inspired me. I'm going to see if I can do the whole interview without dropping an F bomb. And so far, I almost said F them, but I didn't. So I'm behaving myself in case some of your young fans want to watch over there. We had mentioned in the future coming to the United States. Me and you've talked about that in private. And I really like your plan for it, man. Like you're planning for it. It's not something you want to just do right now. You want to make sure all the ducks are in a row, and I really appreciate that. When it does happen, what's the perfect scenario for J Master in the United States?
Well, perfect scenario, I think, because I'm planning it so much, my plan is to just be there for a few months, like hopefully 3. I think that's how much I can stay with like the tourist visa,
Mm,
because we need to get visa to go there
mm-hmm,
from Argentina. So I'm planning to do 3 months, go to as many states as possible and wrestle like every weekend if I can. Um, it's not my plan to make any money on the first time. I of course I appreciate it if I can make some money, but I just want to show myself and show what I can do. Like I consider my first trip everywhere as an inversion, as an investment. To me, this first time that I went to Chile, I paid for everything myself
mm-hmm,
because I knew it was my platform to show myself to a new audience, and I knew I had to deliver in ring, so I just paid for everything, and I know next time I be there, they are probably going to like say, okay, we liked what this guy did last time. Maybe we can like pay the flight or pay for his food or pay for something.
mm-hmm.
So I'm approaching this trip to the US the same way. I can be there for a few months. I just cover all of the costs myself. Gonna hurt, but I'll do it. Um, and maybe the next time I'm there, they're gonna say, okay, I like this kid. Maybe we should give him some money so he can come over.
Exactly. I love it because that's what a lot of people on the outside looking in don't really understand, it is an investment, and you do have to sacrifice. Myself and my co-host Marcus Twist are talking about going to Australia. We know we won't make any money, but again, you're in Australia. It's a life experience. You get to show yourself to a whole different crowd. I definitely like your train of thought. Whenever you hit the United States, are we thinking about hitting Mexico? That kind of seems like you're seeing as well. Do you watch a lot of lucha libre?
Yeah, I know a lot of Mexican wrestling. Well, of course, I have Hip Hop Man's contact.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, "You want to come to Mexico? You talk to me." I'm also friends with, well, I know Blackfire from Mexico as well. He was in the AAA, I believe.
Okay.
He come over to catch for like the last show or the second to last show. He was also great. So I know that if I want to go to Mexico, I can. I know the door is open. And also at Chile, I met a guy who is contact with Ricky Marvin, which is also in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like the best trainer in Mexico. So I know I could go to that place. I know if I want to go to Mexico, I could go. Um, the thing is, right now, I'm mostly focused on the States because a lot of my style goes more along with the US style.
I love it. And I'm glad you threw Ricky Marvin out there. That's the guy that I've been trying to work up the nerve to ask on the podcast. Dude's been to Japan. Like you say, one of the best trainers out there. His work speaks for itself. Props to Ricky Marvin. Let's get him on WrestleRoni soon. Let's talk about your colleagues. Tell my listeners 3 to 5 wrestlers in Argentina they should be keeping an eye on. That's a fun watch, great in the ring, great people. Who can we put over in Argentina?
Right now, I gotta go with Chuck Dixon, number
Mm-hmm.
one. We've been like working. It's funny. We were laughing the other day. We worked together on every single promotion we were in.
Mm-hmm.
We worked together in Legion. We worked together in Catch. We worked together in Quilombo and in CNL. We worked together everywhere. And he's like the main guy right now. One of the main guys people see as the top wrestler in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Not only he's a great wrestler, he's a great guy. He's super fun. Well, he's super great to work with. People love him. He gets over everywhere he goes. Um, Another guy has to be Lucio. He also has been showing up in Argentina, in Chile. He was also in CNL with us. He's amazing in ring. I think from a purely in ring technique, he's number one in Argentina. He's number one. Um, he's also a great guy. We're good friends as well. Then who can I say? Probably Striker. Striker, he's one of my best friends as well. I've seen him like improve a lot. He's seen me improve a lot. My first match in training was with him, and so we like grown together a lot, and we have a lot of love and respect for each other. I have three right now, yeah. Who else? Probably well, Travis Wick. He came
Okay.
over to Chile with us. He was also in the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
Great wrestler. Um, I think he's also one of the best in-ring workers we have. He really brings that. He really brings the best out of you in the ring. Like I worked with him a few times, and he helped me like work um in a more technical style.
Mm.
And fifth, I have to go with also one of my best friends, Mike Brooks. He's, well, I think I'm cheating if I say he's from Argentina because his character is technically from the US.
Okay.
Um, but he's based in Argentina. I think I had some of my best, maybe not technically best matches, but I think I have my best psychology and story-driven matches with him. We had a rivalry for like almost a year for the Metropolitan Championship in catch,
Okay.
and he really brought out my more creative side and helped me um, grow on a psychology and storytelling level that I didn't have before. He also helped me improve my promo game a lot. He's the best promo in Argentina. I always say it. He's the best promo in Argentina. Uh, so I think those five guys, if I have to like assemble a team of wrestlers, it would be those guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, in Argentina, do you guys hit the road a lot? Do you have to travel very far to hit these different places for different promotions? Uh, is it a lot of miles on the road, or how's that work over there?
Thankfully for us, most promotion are in Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is the capital of Argentina,
Okay.
and where all of us live and where all of us wrestle. It's a huge city, but most shows are done on the more centric part of the city,
Hmm.
so we can kind of like like travel an hour and get to a show. It's
Okay.
not that difficult. Mostly, like for example, when we do shows in Catch, like I'm 20 minutes away. Like I just take the bus and get there in 20 minutes.
Nice.
Same thing with Quilombo. With Legion is a little different, a little further away, but not even an hour. I have to travel to get there. Um, but you get everywhere with bus or with a bus or with the subway. Like you can get there in time.
Interesting, interesting. So, with Argentina wrestling catching on the way it is, do have you seen or heard of any of what we call outlaw mud show promotions kind of starting up and doing little shows in rural areas with untrained guys? Is that going on yet?
Not yet.
It will.
Mostly, I think that happens in Argentina when there is a promotion on TV.
Hmm.
Right now, we're not getting that kind of attention, so I don't think that's happening.
Okay.
And I think that's a difference between the States and Argentina. I feel like that's something that does happen over there, but it doesn't really happen over here. Um, because there isn't a lot of towns like that. I don't know how to explain it, but um, it's really, really, really hard to get a ring in Argentina.
Right.
Like there's less than 10 rings in the whole country, I
Hmm.
believe. And most of them are in Buenos Aires. So just for that reason, it's kind of impossible to do. Like the other year was kind of, I think we have like a bit over 5 rings in the country.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me run this by you then. Al, let's see where you stand on this. Over here, if you don't have a ring, no problem. We're going to call it a no ring deathmatch show, and we're just going to buy probably 5,000 light bulbs, which I'm not down in it. I recently worked for a promotion. It was very fun. But where would you stand on that sort of thing? No ring, but we're just going to beat each other and bleed. And how you feel about that sort of thing?
I mean, to me, it depends on the wrestler. As long as you are having fun doing it, you think it's something that you can do over time or just do for fun. Yeah, I think it depends on the way you view things. Me personally, I wouldn't do it because I that's not the type of wrestling I do,
Hmm.
and not it's not what I want for my career either. Like I know I want to wrestle till I'm old, like
Right.
around my 50s, and I know if I'm like every weekend doing a death match, I'm not gonna be there.
Right.
Um, so I think it's good if you want to do it, go ahead, do it. If you like it, do it. If you like it, watch it, support it, show love. Um, but if you don't, do your own thing. Yeah, like I don't think there's a need to bash that type of stuff because it's different people's way of showing love for wrestling or just showing what they can do. And that much wrestling isn't easy. It's not easy at all. So there is respect in to me. I respect that the amount of work that goes into that because it's not easy, and I wouldn't bash that or talk bad about it because I think it's just different ways to do things. I
Exactly.
prefer to do it with a ring and with a different type of show, but if you prefer to do it with no ring and just kill each other with light balls, do it. It's your way of showing what you can do. Like to me, wrestling is art, and it's your own way to do art.
Exactly. I say it all the time. Wrestling can be anything you want it to be. And I definitely get the traditionalists that say it's worked this way for years. Why in the hell are you doing it without a ring and all that? I understand it. There's so many different philosophies and ways of thinking. I'm saying it's all art. Do what you want to do. Be happy because the no ring death match I went to, ooh, it was a fun time. It got the blood pumping, and my usual co-host that's not joining us, he catches some hell for working these deathmatch shows. They all call him a deathmatch goof, but he does it. He loves it. He has fun. he gets paid a little extra for getting a little crazy. So it's an option to guys, and it's an
Yeah,
option to fans. So yeah,
yeah. If it works for you, do it. Yeah, I'm 100% for that. Yeah.
heck yeah,
It's your own way of doing wrestling. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. Everybody does it a different way, and there's no right way to do it. And that, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about wrestling. Anybody can do it anyway, and all ways are correct. And there's not one way to do it. If the people are reacting, then you're doing a good job.
yeah, yeah. And I tell you, the one I attended last month, as far as reactions, that was probably the craziest crowd I've been in front of. It started off with a punk rock show. A couple punk rock bands played, so everybody's hyped from that. I found myself in the middle of a mosh pit recording. That scared the hell out of me. And then there's glass flying and craziness. It was a fun night. So if you're listening, give it a shot. I bet you have a fun time. You might leave with some wrestler's blood on you, but that happens sometimes, I guess. We're talking wild and crazy. You gave me one wild and crazy story. Do you have any other wild and crazy stories you can share with the listeners?
Wild and crazy stories. I don't know. Like most of the first shows we did were on tough places,
Mm,
like rough neighborhoods. Well, that same show I told you about earlier, during the show you could hear gunshots during the show, like
wow.
a few miles away. You could just hear them. Um, and I didn't know that up until a few months ago because they would tell me during the show, no, it's not gunshots, it's cars or it's something like that, and I believed it because it was my first time being out there. But after a few months, they decided to like tell me the truth and tell me, no, no, those were gunshots.
Wow.
So yeah, there was really rough places we worked for, and we worked for like no people there, and no money, and it's crazy to me to think that like 2 days ago I was in the biggest promotion of South America with around 200 something people in the crowd, and like just a year ago I was working for 5 people in like one of the most dangerous places in the country.
Wow.
So that's huge for me. Like we really came up from like really from the ground, like wrestling for nobody, making no money. Sure, we are making a little bit of money now, but and that's not the most important part for me. But seeing the growth of the audience and people know who we are, people to ask us for pictures now. Well, in Chile, somebody recognized me from my Argentinian work. Like that was surprising to me. Like this kid came up to me after a show. I went to see Travis wrestle there,
Hmm.
and this kid came up to me after the show. He said, "Hey, are you a wrestler?" I was like, "Yeah, I wrestle." And he said, "Oh, you're from Legion, and there is a Legion in Chile." I said, "I'm from Argentina. Like, I'm not from that place." He said, "No, no, Legion Argentina. Um, I've seen a video of you there. Like, you were a champion, and you were like the youngest champion, something." And that was me. So I was like, "Yeah, that's me." It was crazy to me that I could get recognized in a whole different country I've never been in, from a fan from my work over in Argentina.
Yeah. And that goes back to my point I was telling somebody again today. That's why this, in my opinion, is the greatest era of wrestling. It's accessible. You can see what's going on in Argentina. You can see what's going on in Canada. You can see it's accessible. It's out there. Again, it's on YouTube, man. It's like most of the stuff's not even behind a paywall. Check it out. See what's going on in these different places. It's beautiful, man. And props to you. You said it's not about the money, and it's not. It's but when you get that money, that means you're going forward. You're making progress. So props to you. In a short amount of time, you're making big moves. So congratulations to you, man. Props on that. We're in the final 10 minutes of the show. It's flown by. The last 10 minutes, I like to give my guests the platform. Promote whatever you want to promote, your socials, any words of inspiration, anything you want to put out there. The platform's all yours. Have at it.
Okay, I'm probably going to say, give Argentinian wrestling a shot, give international wrestling a shot. There is a lot of wrestling that goes around the world, not only in the US. We do shows in Argentina. Chile does shows. Peru does shows. Brazil does shows. Everybody has wrestling. Everybody in the world. Um, and sure, maybe we are not as developed as companies in the US or Europe, but there is still talent over there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we have talent in Argentina, we have talent everywhere. There's You can find good wrestling everywhere, and if you don't like it, it's okay. You cannot like it, but at least just watch it and figure out if you like it or not. Um, I think that's something that it's important for wrestling fans to be open minded. Um, you might find someone you like, you might find someone you don't like, you might find the next big wrestler, or you just watch a few matches just to watch them. I think that's just enjoy it for what it is. You
Yeah.
know, it's just wrestling, and it's for all of us. And if I had to promote, well, my own work, you can find me on Instagram on L_Shay_master. Um, that's where I'm mostly active. I post like stuff almost daily. I'm on YouTube, on my own YouTube channel. It's also called Shay Master. I'm on Twitter, Shay_master_. Um, what else? Where am I? Well, you can also find me in Catch Argentino's socials, on their YouTube page. I'm also in Quilombo's stuff, Quilombo Wrestling's socials, Instagram and YouTube. And I'm also sometimes in Legion. I'm not there everywhere, so I'm not gonna give them the full treatment. But I'm there sometimes. You can find me on their YouTube, on their socials as well. Uh, and yeah, you can right now you can only see me in Argentina. In the future, you'll be able to see me everywhere. So stick with the YouTube for now, but I'll be in a show near you sooner than you expect, probably.
Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Let me say right now, mark my words. Let's give it a few years. You're going to see him in the U.S. on the Indies, but let's go beyond that. Let me say right now on this episode, I believe episode 84, give it a few years, you're going to see this man on international TV. Whether it's AEW, WWE, Spooky Lou called it last year, and the man's proven me right. Already hitting Chilie, already making his rounds on the socials. Keep proving me right. I'm proud as hell of you. Never met the man, but I know talent when I see it. Mark my words. Document this. The shit's happening. There, I slipped up and said it. You got me worked up, but I dropped one. But it's happening. It's happening in the next few years, whether it be on NXT Level Up. I mean, I even consider GCW a win. So, you'll see this man soon enough. It's been another wonderful episode of WrestleRoni. Buy you some Marcus Twist shirts, buy you some WrestleRoni shirts, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, I'll put links in the description. Catch Argentina. Check out Argentina Wrestling for all it's worth. Check out the ladder match he's talking about if you haven't already. Most importantly, go out there, live your dreams, treat each other fairly, support independent wrestling, and like the man said, give something new a try. You might turn on Argentina Wrestling and see a young kid coming up that you're going to see in the main event of WrestleMania 10 years from now. You never know. It's crazy how the business works. I see it all the time. It's been another wonderful episode with wonderful people. Stay tuned to the channel for more up-and-coming talent. I can't thank you enough, J Master. I'll ask you to hang on here with me. But to the fans, we love you. Keep tuning in. Keep doing what you're doing. And live your life. Live your dreams. We're out of here.